Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be doing love predictions for the month of May for each of the 12 zodiac signs. There are timestamps in the description box of the video for each sign. If you would like to jump ahead, you can apply these messages for your sun, moon, or rising sign, even your Venus sign, just whatever works for you. And before I get into the reading, I wanted to do a quick commercial announcement. This is a product that I actually featured a few weeks ago here on this channel, and I just wanted to do a refresher or reminder about this. The company is called Rose Forever New York. It is a company that's been around since 2019, so they've got a lot of brand recognition behind them. They make these very beautiful floral arrangements, roses that come in just a wide variety of colors. Natural, ordinary pigments you would find out in nature, such as red, yellow, and white, and then they've got things that are even a little more bold than that. Orange, purple, black. There's something to fit everybody's particular style and color preference, color palette. The roses themselves are fresh picked, and they are preserved using natural oils, vegan-friendly products. The pigmentation on some of the more bold and unusual colors are also vegan-friendly, all-natural pigmentation. The boxes, the arrangements that they come in, it's a variety of sizes. These are all kind of vegan leather products that are used to cover the boxes. In this case, this is the pink suede hat box, but they have this also in a square design. They've got larger arrangements, smaller arrangements, so there's a little bit of everything to fit everybody's budget, everybody's style, everybody's particular taste. And there is a coupon code in the description box of the video, which will get you $25 off your order on their site. That coupon code's good for the next couple of weeks, so with Mother's Day coming up, maybe a birthday, or even a just because present for yourself, this is definitely something that I personally would recommend very highly if you're looking for the gift that keeps on giving. They say that these bouquets will last for a year, but judging based on this one and a bouquet that I featured earlier in the year that is still really well preserved, I think that it's gonna last a lot longer than a year. So I'm really happy to be able to showcase this again for you, just that little kind of reminder to take advantage of that coupon code. Check out their website, a lot of great customer reviews as well, so you can kind of look over and just see the track record of people who have had very wonderful experiences with them and bring home, this beautiful lasting bouquet of flowers that will continue to kind of dazzle and amaze for months, the year, and I would even surmise years to come. So with that being said, I'm going to get into the reading, and I'm going to start with the zodiac sign of Aries. So Aries, what's coming up in May for love for you? I'm going to start by getting a Romance Angels card, and then I'm going to dive into some other oracle cards, just using oracle cards for this particular reading here. Okay, so we have release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. So for some of you, you may have a ghost or ghosts of the past popping back up, attempting to reconcile. In this month of May, we are still in Mercury retrograde, so that is not an uncommon theme for people from the past to get really nostalgic, try to reach back out, see if there's another chance to start again, or see if that door is still open, the offer still stands, whatever that looks like. So for a lot of you, this may be a theme of someone from the past returning, and it might be something where this is an opportunity to provide yourself closure, to release those cords of attachment, maybe get that sense of vindication, or take your power back from the situation so that further down the road, you are energetically more open and available to new love coming in for you. You don't have that kind of block or barrier of whatever happened with this person in the past. And this can also just apply to kind of some advice to maybe work on that, work on releasing those cords of attachment. In just a couple of days on May 5th, we have a full moon in Scorpio coming up, and full moons are a really great time to set intentions for release. As the moon kind of wanes, energies are exiting, they are on their way out. So for some of you, this can be that clue or indicator to, maybe make that declaration, make that affirmation. I release all energies from past lovers, past relationships, past connections that have expired, maybe that ended badly, or even that they ended on good terms, but there's still some kind of cord or tether tying you to that event, that person, that circumstance, that in some way, by freeing yourself, freeing up your energy, it is allowing you to sort of step into this stance of welcoming in the new, welcoming in a fresh energy. So let's see what else is coming in for May, for the month of love. Or the month of May for love. Yeah, Mercury retrograde right there. Little tongue twister with that. So this actually, nothing is by accident within a reading. And even that idea of how my words got really kind of turned around, there's also a possibility of, in terms of someone from the past coming forward, or even somebody new that you might encounter where something kind of is almost lost in translation. There may be a bit of kind of like misunderstandings almost. Like, is this person flirting with me? Are they giving me the signal? Are they giving me the sign? So that can definitely apply to new person, old person from the past coming back. So discernment, patience, it feels like is a key theme as far as love is concerned for the month of May. Okay, so we've got mountain, strength, wind, activation, and spring equinox, rebirth. Yeah, so this idea with mountain and challenges, and this can definitely tie into something that you've been holding or harboring within as far as love is concerned, maybe a challenging relationship with somebody from your past, and they are resurfacing. And this is all about the winds of change, the winds of release, speaking your truth, maybe even getting that message of a desire for reconciliation. And there's also this element here with the idea of rebirth and kind of like release your ex, that not all of you, if someone returns from the past, or if you're doing kind of like cord cutting practices or rituals for yourself, that all of this is just going to be leading to closing that door to foreverness with a particular person. This can also really tie into, challenging or difficult conversations that need to take place with somebody showing up maybe from the past, and they themselves are in a changed energy. They've gone through some kind of awakening and rebirth. And so it's possible this idea of like release your ex is release the version of them that you knew before, that they may be showing up, differently, having grown, having evolved, having figured some things out. Again, though, discernment is definitely, a key kind of element with this idea of mountains and strength. It's also kind of tying into the idea of like the courage to have these boundaries, to sort of like do what's best for you, rather than being sort of pulled into that energy of nostalgia, pulled into the memory of the good times, or almost like getting your hopes up too much that they've changed. Setting some challenges for them, raising that bar, really requiring anyone that you're considering reopening the door to, making them kind of prove that these are not just empty words, but that there's some kind of substance and action that are behind these things, and that feels to be the best recipe for kind of, separating people that are just sort of coming back around for another loop on maybe like a toxic or karmic cycle with you, versus people who have actually done the work and are now showing back up, ready to give it a chance with you for real this time, or in a healthier way than it had been in the past. And, that aside, anybody that you might entertain, kind of like new feelings, a new spark, a renewal of that relationship, it again is this idea of, speaking these affirmations taking your power back from a certain circumstance, maybe just kind of like clearing your energy of all sort of past connections, even things that you have been feeling that you're very much over, that there's something, you know, that the month of May, it ties into kind of like a larger sort of ripple of your love life in general, that it might not, it feels like it's all about kind of like allowing things to exit, allowing things to clear out so that new seeds can be planted, so that kind of like a new love, or, you know, a more tender love, a more reciprocal love is able to then grow out of a space where maybe you've been a bit hardened in the heart space to love. Maybe you've had your guard up, you've had your walls up. There's been a bit of energetic clutter, so to speak, because of kind of these cords of attachment, you know, maybe even something that you've been kind of like ruminating on or stewing on, or, you know, just kind of holding on to some kind of seed of discontentment over how things played out before. And so this is really tying in. I'm going to get a couple more oracle cards before I move on to the next sign, but this is definitely tying into the idea of, you know, kind of like clearing space within your life this month as far as love is concerned, so that, you know, maybe people who are kind of like waiting in the wings but could perceive in some way that you might not be available, or there's just something that's kind of like closed off about your energy, so that these people then are given like the green light, so to speak, to enter. There's a clarity within you so that you're able to perceive circumstances that you should be kind of like tending, feeding your attention to, versus maybe, you know, even a couple different people coming in, and there might be some who are just kind of reminiscent of these cycles of the past. So discernment's a big key here, and really being able to determine, you know, through kind of these tests that are unfolding, you know, multiple people coming in, is this just going to be a repeating cycle of what you've dealt with and released with a previous partner, or is this somebody that is representative of the changes you've made within yourself and is therefore a good investment? So just get a couple more oracle cards for you to wrap this up. Okay, so we have flexible and loyal heart. So again, this idea of like tending your garden within, flexible, like moving beyond difficulties of the past, moving beyond kind of this rigid stance you may have been in, or, you know, even just these kind of mile markers in your life where things didn't necessarily work out really well as far as love and partnership is concerned. There's an opportunity here this month to really do some kind of like gardening in the heart space, in the emotional body. And, you know, you're in this process of calling in, maybe this is someone from the past or somebody new that's getting ready to enter, an individual who matches your frequency, who is a vibrational match. So it feels like in tandem with sort of this work that you're doing within yourself, again, there may be options, there may be ghosts of the past resurfacing, there may be several new suitors that are coming in, and you're really going to have to look at this from kind of a detached and a discerning, you know, using the wisdom of the past kind of a stance to see, is this what I'm looking for, or is this something I'm being called toward because in some way it is a reminder, or it is resonating with some kind of like unhealed wound within, which is where that energy of release work comes in, so that there's not almost like trigger points in the sense of you're just going to make a beeline to somebody that, you know, very unconsciously maybe, who just represents something that you had been dealing with, something that you've been trying to grow and evolve beyond, and almost in a very kind of unknowing way that you might just, you know, it might be kind of at this crossroads point of your own personal healing journey, as far as, are you going to go back? Are you going to go backwards, or are you really going to use this opportunity to truly kind of like close out a cycle and, you know, set those sights in a very forward-minded way? Somebody who represents the vibration of what you have cultivated within yourself, healthy and reciprocal partnership, what you're looking for in love. You don't need to kind of like go back down that road of difficulty again, but it's more of a matter of not just convincing yourself of this inside, but really making those those choices outwardly in order to be able to bring in a different kind of partner, or welcome in, or create that space for a different kind of partnership and love to move in closer, or to come find you a little bit further down the road. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, where I do pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to other topics such as spirituality, wellness, self-love, ascension. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support over there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Taurus. So I'm going to start with a romance angel to get kind of an introductory theme for you for the month of May as far as love is concerned. Okay, we've got finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. So this is really bringing to mind the idea of abundance, that this is a season of growth as far as love, maybe offers of love, this idea of like multiple coins to choose from, something that you've really been wishing for as well. The idea of like coins being thrown into that wishing well or that pond, something you've been trying to call in and manifest into your world, into your reality. Maybe this just even has to do with more openness, more attention as far as love and romance is concerned, that this is definitely the month where that can start to come in for you, maybe to trickle in just this month, and then in the months to follow kind of the velocity of that picks up. But this also really ties into investments that you've been making to heal from difficulties of the past, maybe even a relationship you've been working to heal, perhaps even just personal and internal work you've been doing within yourself to take back your power, cultivate a sense of abundance within. Again, there's this idea of like it's an investment that has been well made up to this point in time, and it's getting ready to pay off. You're getting ready to see the rewards of that, the work you've been putting in towards yourself really coming back to you threefold. So this could be, that reference to threefold, 3 potential suitors, kind of like multiple people. In other words, you'll have options this month. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading. So I'm going to get a few, channel some more messages, close it out with a few more. So what else do you need to know for love for the month of May? Okay, so we have Dreamtime, Creation, Desert, Vision Quest, and Ocean, Ebb and Flow. So this idea with ocean, ebb and flow, it's bringing forth kind of this idea of like a message in a bottle. So maybe somebody who reaches out from afar. It's also the word long lost love is coming through. So for some of you, the tide could be washing somebody back up on your shore. Somebody who may have needed to find themselves, or, the ocean of time has separated you. So this could be somebody you dated when you were younger. Maybe even something, this idea of desert where this was just kind of like a what if. It was a fleeting romance. It was just flirtation. It was something that never was actually grounded into material reality, but something where you and this other person have always kind of like wondered. You've crossed each other's minds from time to time, and this might be, kind of a circumstance of like right person, wrong time. So with Dreamtime, Creation, that sort of like the recipe is right now for things to come together in a way that might not have been possible before because of where you were at in your journey, where they were at, other circumstances, the timing just not being right. Almost feeling here that you got a peek or sort of a preview at something that might have had potential, but that it was just very scattered in the past. It just purely existed in the realm of like dreams, you know, this kind of like fantasies and fleeting thoughts. But this month it has this potential to be infused with a lot more potency and momentum and activation. This idea of like ocean is also tying into something with, you know, maybe a desert, kind of a drought in terms of your love life. Not a lot of options, not seeing a lot of potential candidates, looking around and it's just crickets, you know, not getting a lot of attention or nothing that really sort of strikes your fancy in some way, that things are really getting ready to pick up the pace, that it's going from almost this calm sea to this very sort of almost volatile churning away in which, you know, you might be getting a lot of attention from a lot of different people. It may be, you know, discernment is required. Some you're going to want to participate with. There's going to be growth potential. Others are going to be this immediate kind of no, or it's something where, you know, you're trying these different sort of connections on for size, only to find that, you know, there's just kind of a lack. There's not a lot of growth potential there. But through all of this, it feels to be something that's really stirring up what may have been a very kind of like stagnant aspect of your life. Like even if you've been dating people up to this point, if it hasn't just been, you know, you and your own energy, it almost feels that things are getting ready to take on this next level. It's a different pool of candidates you'll be experiencing. Maybe even, you know, if you've had a couple different people, again, kind of all of these different little particles and scenes and faces here in this Dreamtime card, you know, speaks to several people, multiple people that you may have been considering, you may have just been talking to, getting to know. Things could really start to take on that element of emotions where you're seeing these people, this person, from a different perspective, something that you may have been very on the fence about, or it was just too soon to tell. It's almost like you're going to be able this month to really decide and to see and to determine, perhaps even through these intuitive nudges and hits, maybe things that come through in dreams that kind of make it a little more clear to you as far as, you know, this is a circumstance that is going nowhere. This is only draining. It is only depleting. It's kind of reached its expiration date. All of the magic and potential has kind of been squeezed out of it, and it's time to move beyond that. Or, you know, this other situation that it was very unknown. It was kind of like just embarking upon that, or sort of standing on the shore even and kind of looking and wondering what if, that it's the signal is given. It's time to navigate into deeper waters with that. It's time to really trust and kind of move beyond the comfort zone, or things really pick up the pace. And as you're getting to know somebody, that it's like, okay, well, we can really go somewhere here. You know, there's enough in common. There's enough of the groundwork or framework that has been laid to sort of carry this into a very interesting direction. So ocean also ties into the idea of like adventures, maybe even types of people or connections or ways of meeting individuals that are very outside of the box of what you have been accustomed to up to this point in time. So it's like an adventure, maybe even something that ties in with you going on a vacation, going on an adventure, getting outside of your ordinary reality, something that you've been working towards, you've been dreaming about, like that dream vacation, something you've been saving toward, you know, anything like that, that it has a lot of potential to kind of intersect you with somebody that, you know, might pull at those emotional heartstrings. This can even be kind of like 6 degrees of separation, like somebody that you meet or connect with on one of these adventures, some of these travels, is in a way almost like a conduit further down the road to somebody that has romantic potential for you. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards just to round this out for you. Okay, and we've got flexible and poised. So definitely this poised is really speaking to victory. If you had felt very much sort of tied in or fenced in, romantically speaking, not a lot to be seen, maybe in terms of your environment, not a lot of people that were catching your attention. This may even tie into this idea of like, you know, you've put yourself up on a pedestal, you've invested in yourself prior to the month of May, and even continuing on in these energies, and that you're really gearing yourself up for success, this investment in self-love and in nurturing and kind of like living your best life, or, you know, maybe even not focusing on love, focusing on abundance in careers, other things like that. You know, the sense of adventure, getting out, living your life to the fullest, that in some way this is that extra kind of jolt that's necessary to raise your vibration in such a way that you're calling in maybe different kinds of partners, new partners, to tie into this idea of flexible, something outside of the ordinary, something very unexpected. Something that, you know, maybe it's a location that you go to, or some, you know, just on an ordinary day, you're not expecting to run into somebody who has romantic potential. And all of a sudden, you know, the plans change. You're kind of like directed or rerouted in a new way. It's almost bringing to mind a series of like detours that actually align you with what it is you've been seeking the whole time. Reason for celebration, cause to really jump for joy, an acceleration, kind of a leg up or a leveling up in your romance, and the types of people you're encountering, maybe even with this idea of if you already have people that you're entertaining at this point in time. Perhaps it's people from the past, you know, versus like new people, or it's a couple of new people, just whatever that looks like. In some way, you're going to be given different information that helps you kind of course correct away from certain individuals and in the direction of new people. Or even just cutting things altogether off from what you've been dealing with up to this point in time, so that you're able to set your sights in a direction of what you're wanting to experience. It feels like for some of you, you may have been in a season of kind of discovering what love is by first learning what love is not. And that this is kind of like wrapping up. You've gotten the gold in that situation. You're doing this victory dance at this point in time. And it's really something that is now, again, kind of like rerouting, navigating you, turning you in a different direction to where you're able to hone in on more precisely what is for you, what it is you're looking for, because you have experienced and you become very familiar with kind of what doesn't resonate with you. It doesn't resonate with who you've become. You know, it's not in alignment with where you're going in kind of the big picture of your life, or even just what you're looking for in partnerships in general. So those are your messages, and I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link to that channel in the description box of the video, as well as in the channel section of my page. The format over there consists of pick a cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi Gemini, and welcome to your May love reading. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and that'll set kind of the tone or the theme for what the energies of love are looking like for you this month. And I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, so following this card I'll get a few oracles to dig a little bit deeper, clarify, and then a few more on top of that just to round it out. Okay, unrequited love. There is not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. So this is really tying into somebody that you've been hung up on for a while, uncertain about, kind of feeling the situation out, maybe even things that had been going well for a while, and it's kind of turned sour. It's kind of turned south. The big theme this month is release, is letting go, is kind of cutting ties with all that is no longer serving you in order to make space for somebody that is able to appreciate, is able to reciprocate. It's really bringing to mind the idea of no longer wasting your precious energy, time, and emotions pouring into kind of bottomless cups, cups with a hole in them, cups that are not willing to pour back into yours. So it's kind of like selfish, but in a very self-loving way. discernment, you know, maybe just even having a conversation to cut somebody off, breakups, but it feels like something that, you know, there may be a bit of grieving as far as that is concerned, especially if it's somebody that you've been invested with for a while. It doesn't feel like this is the energy of something that is going to come totally as a surprise, although for some of you that definitely is in the cards, you know, just as like a possibility. So just to be kind of on the lookout for that. But it feels like for a lot of you, this may be something like any kind of a breakup. You've been feeling this in the air. You've been, you know, maybe kind of like weighing the pros and cons of doing this, of kind of detaching from a situation in your mind. Maybe you're the one that initiates that kind of that cutoff, that closure in some manner. It may be somebody that you're dealing with that is just kind of wishy-washy. Maybe you've seen a side of them recently that is just like, I'm not into that, not into those true colors. That's fine for somebody else, but it's not what I'm looking for in my life. And it's almost something that it ties up a loose end in a way so that your focus can be directed more toward what is for you, something that is a vibrational match. It feels like for a lot of you, it might even be something where it's kind of like no hard feelings. It's just a mismatch, or it's something where two people have kind of like outgrown their use in one another's lives. You know, that what might have been a very satisfying connection at one point in time has kind of like run its course, and it's time to move on for the benefit of both people. If it's somebody that from the past that you've been kind of like hung up on, all of these kind of like spectral sort of energies here in the background of this card, this can tie into like ghosts of the past, for example. So in the month of May, we are still in Mercury retrograde. That's prime season for, you know, exes to turn back up, and you know, just people from the past to like resurface. So it may even be something that an individual you had previous dealings with kind of pops back on the radar in some manner. This can even, though further than that, be somebody from the past that you were thinking it would be great to reconnect with them, kind of like a wondering what if. And when they show back up, you're almost the one that is like, I don't feel the same way. It is now unrequited. It's almost like rose-colored glasses are taken off. Some kind of bubble or illusion, or just this kind of lingering sense of what if that may have kept you energetically tethered or tied to potential horizons and futures with a particular individual. It's almost like these dissolve and you find yourself freed or very much in a lighter kind of energy to move in the direction of calling into your life connections and people, you know, new experiences, different kinds of experiences that resonate more with who you are at a core level. So let's see what else you need to know as far as the month of May is concerned. So we have lightning, power, river, movement, and crystals, focus. So definitely this lightning energy is talking about taking your power back. It's kind of like that aha moment or that epiphany, you know, this idea of clarity with the crystals as well, kind of this intuitive knowing that something has reached its conclusion, something is no longer worth investing in. Or again, somebody from the past resurfaces and you see them with fresh eyes because with this idea of river and movement, time has evolved you. You're not the same person you were when you were dealing with this individual before. And it doesn't feel, with this idea of unrequited love, it really is bringing to mind the idea of like release, moving beyond something, being pivoted forward in a substantial way. It's kind of like a rushing river. This isn't just you close the door and then you're looking around like where to next. It's almost something that may even through kind of a series of downloads, if you're not dealing with any of these people face to face, or it's something that, you know, a current person that you're dealing with that's you've kind of been on the fence about, or, you know, it's just kind of, it's turned sort of sour. It's like this moment of clarity of, I don't have to keep participating in this anymore. I don't need to keep showing up for this anymore. What is this actually adding to the measure of my life versus what is it taking? by way of, you know, even with this kind of idea of like lightning and power and this kind of volatile sea here, you know, it might be something where arguments, disagreements, a lot of dissonance has occurred within a particular connection, or somebody even from the past that you may have kind of had on a pedestal in some way. Your focus on kind of the energy of like the sweetness of nostalgia, you're really kind of, you're taking those blinders off, or you're being shown in a way that there was actually a lot of chaos in that situation. It actually disturbed your peace in a lot of ways. And it feels to be something that this is almost like taking your power back in terms of, you know, through this kind of opening, through this kind of cave here. It's like more of a tranquil scene that like your peace, relationships and connections and exchanging energy with people that add to the measure of your existence, rather than like leaving you with questions and things to ruminate about and that just really upset your harmony, create a sense of dis-ease within yourself. You've like come to this point within where your peace is a priority. And so other ways, maybe you've been in a kind of a season of sort of like cutting things off or rearranging things in your life. And it's almost like it's time to shift that lens onto the department of love. People that you're dealing with currently, people from the past. It's really just instantaneously, it's almost like with this lightning eviscerating these cords of attachment that kept you tied to like toxicity, low vibrations, people who themselves are in kind of this energy of not loving themselves. You know, and therefore emanating that out to others, consciously or unconsciously, that there's this energy here of, you know, kind of taking your power back and moving on in a different direction, demanding more for yourself, knowing that you deserve more for yourself, which it brings you to a place then you're able to open up to different kinds of partnerships because you've cauterized or are cauterizing some kind of wound within yourself that kept you feeding into these kind of low vibrational, lopsided, chaotic sort of situations. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards to round this out for you. Okay, so we have chop wood and regeneration. Yeah, so these tie in really well with this idea of like cutting things away with this chop wood here. No more dead weight, no more dead wood, no more, you know, just kind of like holding on to a situation that has soured, that has passed its expiration date. No more putting in the effort to almost kind of, after dealing with, you know, even kind of like disappointment or any of this kind of like residual chaos, the time that it takes for you to then apply your energetic resources to creating balance and peace within yourself. You're almost like no more feeding into low vibrations, loveless situations, circumstances or involvements that make me feel compromised in terms of the high vibration that I have worked diligently to cultivate for myself. So it's a very empowering energy this month. And this idea with regeneration here is like the burning of bridges is that kind of fuel that's necessary for new growth in your love life to take place. So rather than like new people coming in and it's an energy here of, you know, building to the next level, this is definitely a month for you of like getting rid of things, clearing the clutter, clearing that debris, cutting people off, you know, cutting off even this almost for some of you kind of like a bit of fantasy thinking or only focusing on the positives of circumstances if it was dealing with people from the past or current people. And it's seeing things from a realistic point of view, like where is this going in the long term? How is this contributing to the measure of my life versus sort of taking away from it? And through this month, through this process of really clearing and cleansing things away, it's almost like every bridge you burn, every cord you cut in the material world or just in your kind of internal landscape, it pivots you further along your path toward, you know, this kind of like unknown destination, new types of connections, new types of people that are just like waiting for you to reach them. But at this point, maybe you've been bogged down in the heart space, or you've been entertaining people and vibrations that are just kind of like keeping you stuck and stagnant in place, causing you to put a lot of your energy into questioning yourself or having to kind of mend or pick up the pieces or sort through an experience or an encounter, you know, to try and like exercise almost compassion or understanding for a circumstance. And it's the energy here of like enough is enough, valuing yourself enough to decide and choose better for you. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi Cancer, and welcome to your reading. I'm going to start with a romance angel, and this will set the tone, set the theme for love for the month of May. And this is going to be an Oracle cards only reading, so after I get this romance angel, I will get a few more Oracle cards to kind of dig a little bit deeper into those messages and kind of the energies of love for May, and then I'll round it out with a few more Oracle cards after that. Okay, so you got two, so I am going to take them both. And we have deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. And free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. So, I love that these two came out together. This totally fits in. It's something that you almost, it feels like you may have really been second guessing yourself about if there's funny business going on in a connection, if someone has been leading you on, maybe if they have kind of like a wandering eye, they've been making promises and not following through. Something even just feels kind of off about the situation. Maybe you don't have any kind of evidence of this, but with this unicorn here on the free yourself card, you may have just gotten this sort of instinct or intuition that continuing down a road with a particular somebody, it's not going to lead to happiness, that it's not going to lead to the fulfillment you want. This may have been something where a lot of red flags have been coming up, maybe like a literal sense for some of you, or just these little cues or indicators even that might not be so directed at this particular individual that you're dealing with, but almost that are kind of like signposts telling you to switch directions in some manner. And because you may have had, you know, somebody that you're currently dealing with, that you might have just been kind of shrugging these signs off up to this point in time. And it's almost bringing to mind like fencing yourself in, tying yourself too much in to a particular circumstance, maybe because it's someone you've invested with for a while. It's something where there's like a fake kind of energy here where they might really be good at putting on a show. For some of you, you could be dealing with an actual narcissist where, you know, they know just the right things to say to kind of like pull your strings or push your buttons, both positive and negative, to keep you almost dancing in this situation that, you know, as time has gone on, you might be getting these kind of clues or indicators that this is not necessarily the healthiest dynamic. Maybe even just, you know, if it's not as extreme as like a narcissist you've been dealing with, or a covert narcissist even, that's what's coming through. But it's almost somebody who has a lot of unhealed shadow within themselves, and to continue to participate with this person at their point in their journey, work that they are needing to go and do, that maybe they have been investing in kind of romance and, you know, feeding attention into you, participating with you. It's almost this idea of like hiding within your light, hiding from the shadows that they need to address within themselves, you know, by just kind of like moving forward. And it's almost they're bringing with them this huge kind of like package of darkness that in a certain way, it's almost, it's limited, you. It's affected you in some kind of way. It may have been creating a lot of like chaos in the heart space, a lot of other kind of like chaos, limits, or blockages, a restraining kind of energy in your life in general. And so for the month of May, it feels like things will really become clear for you that like this is not the right circumstance. This is not kind of the freedom of love, the bounty of love. This is not the best that there is out there. Like there's something else more that is more in alignment, you know, with kind of like who you are, with your values, with your light, with your energy, that it's almost just kind of like one-sided, like you're doing all the work and this other person is, again, it's just this idea of like hiding inside of your light, hiding from their own karma or their own shadows, or, you know, just trying to like outrun some work that they need to do within themselves. And so by freeing you, you free them to kind of like deal with these things, to face these things, or to not, to continue to kind of like operate in that sort of shadowy or shady energy or behind that mask. But it's almost like you're prioritizing yourself. Like it's not going to be your problem anymore. You're not going to take this on. You're not going to kind of limit yourself. And it feels like something that, you know, this might not even be that difficult of kind of an escape from the situation with kind of the low-lying fence. All it really takes is you kind of getting up and just redirecting your attention elsewhere. This person, especially if they're a narcissist, they'll move on to somebody else. It might be where you're almost feeling kind of like, I could fix them, I could help them, or you're just sort of maybe a little bit kind of like nervous of what's going to be the fallout, what's going to happen if I kind of like detach from this person who may be kind of extreme, volatile, moodiness, you know, all these different kind of things. Or there's just this sense of wanting to uncover that mystery, second guessing in some way, even these red flags you've been getting, or these kind of signs that there's something more than meets the eye. That's not, this doesn't feel to be something that is like, oh, they're hiding really deep feelings and they're just afraid of saying something. This is almost like this person is, what you're seeing is just a caricature of lack or void within themselves. They do not have the ability to give you the kind of love that you are wanting and that you are needing to experience. This is not kind of like the kind of romantic influence you need in your life at this point in time, or that serves you long term. So, you know, it might be something that it's kind of just an energy almost of like self-deception. The signs may have been pointing to this for quite some time. This can even tie into somebody from the past that you were dealing with, that maybe, you know, kind of like the blinders, the rose-colored glasses are taken off from that as well. And you're kind of like, you're shown things, or you're recalling things, or looking back on a situation that, you know, that really wasn't good. That was very toxic. That was not healthy and reciprocal love. And in some way you kind of like, you stand up and begin this exploration of finding what true love actually is, seeking out and making yourself available to a different kind of partnership, rather than being kind of just like tethered to this mask or this memory, this almost idyllic kind of nostalgia of like the way things were with a particular person, or who that person was in general. You may even be shown something becomes apparent to you as far as like their true nature and character, which sort of, it changes your perception of like why you've been holding on to them, why you've been continuing to participate with them, why you've been holding space for the return of this individual to your life. It may even be that, you know, we're in Mercury retrograde in the month of May, so it may even be that like somebody from the past returns, but with kind of like ulterior motives. Something doesn't feel right. Your spidey sense tells you that this is not a good door to open. This is not going to be like a productive situation. It's actually going to just like stall you out on your path, on progress and other ways that you've been wanting to make, or something where they resurface, and you're, because of the work you've done within yourself, you're able to see this person with fresh eyes. They still have a lot of work to do, or, you know, just from kind of this heightened vantage point. Maybe your psychic skills have enhanced. You're listening to your intuition more, that you're going to be given these kind of like nudges or clues to kind of peer behind that mask and really get a good look at the face there, the true face, or, you know, kind of the face that they are embodying predominantly. Whatever had been unknown or overlooked to you before, it's almost like it's too apparent to ignore at this point in time. So let's see, what else do you need to know as far as love is concerned for May? Okay, we've got forest, breath. Island, solitude. And crystals, focus. So this idea of crystals is really tying into that clarity, that awareness. You see clearly now who you are dealing with, or you are no longer kind of ignoring the signs. A lot of signs as well with all these kind of like crystals here, that it's just, if there had been red flags or nudges or like this gut feeling or this intuitive feeling that there is just something more than what you're being shown in a circumstance with a person you're dealing with, or that someone from the past, you may have just been kind of leaning into almost just this very idyllic thinking of this person and kind of ignoring, you know, maybe a lot of this baggage or a lot of this disharmony that they come with. It's almost like there's so many signs that are loud and clear, you can no longer ignore these things. And it may be something where, you know, you kind of just, you feel very alone in a connection. You feel very alone in kind of what you had believed, you know, the romantic feelings, the emotions that you have had. And it's kind of like something that's made apparent. It's kind of like a tough love sort of energy here for you this month, where you're really kind of forced almost to just choose yourself and release yourself from a situation or from an expectation or an illusion of who someone was. Even if you weren't kind of like putting blinders on, it almost feels like, especially if you're dealing with a narcissist, their mask was like very well evolved. They were very kind of used to this game that they were running. They, you know, they had their technique and their tactic down tight. And so seeing that, it might be almost something that is kind of like shocking, like, you know, you just kind of, when you feel that, when you realize that, it's something that may just kind of make you recoil almost to this idea of island and solitude. You're not wanting to deal with a person like that anymore. You're not wanting to deal with this individual anymore. You are really seeing that what you had maybe understood as love or romance or potential was actually something on the opposite of that. Almost like you were the magic in this circumstance and situation. They were the chameleon. They were able to kind of like mask who they were truly and sort of present a face to you that they thought you wanted to see or that they thought was pleasing, but that's not. It's almost like the illusion can't be kept up now any longer. You see beyond that, and it's this energy of freeing yourself from that. You know, a period of time of maybe, again, like the energies of disconnect, a need to go within and to figure out, you know, what within you, especially if there had been like red flags and indicators, you know, some kind of like wound within you that is now needing to kind of have that love that you were trying to give to this other person. You're needing to pour that back into yourself to heal that space within you that would have just, because it feels like for a lot of you, this is not going to be a circumstance where it's just, it's so shocking. It was totally unpredictable and like the rug's pulled out from under you. It's almost just like, you can't ignore this any longer. And it's decision time. It's kind of like you can't just stay in place, or you're given that opportunity to kind of move forward, choose yourself. And by doing that, align yourself more to a love that is worthy and deserving of you. But first you need to heal. First you need to kind of like take that beautiful light that you hold within and shine it in the place within you that says, why did I ignore these signs? Why did I allow such an energy into my life? Why did I participate for as long as I did, or put my life on hold, or almost kind of like dim your light in order to, maybe you're the one that was kind of like also as well mirroring this idea of like wearing a mask. You were letting a lot of things slide as far as love and partnerships are concerned. This may even just be something that kind of illustrates a larger trend or tendency for you. So it's kind of an energy of disconnecting from love this month, wrapping something up in order to go within to start to heal, to start to rejuvenate, to start to revive yourself, to start to grow beyond this circumstance, grow beyond this pattern, or grow beyond this experience with this person, that it may require a period of going into that cave of solitude in order to be able to figure out this wounded aspect of you, kind of pick up the pieces from this situation more, so that, you know, as you're moving forth and you're encountering, you know, you're opening your heart to love again, you're encountering other people, you're not falling into the same kind of trap once again. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards just to round this out for you. Okay, we've got time to go and yang. Yeah. So confirmation right there. Time to go free yourself. Island in solitude. It's definitely that's going to be the biggest push for you as far as romance is disconnecting from something, disconnecting from a memory, or kind of like feeding in or trying even to manifest somebody back in your life. Maybe this is a masculine or like a divine counterpart you were dealing with, where you've just seen no forward progress from that. That's another element of this as well. Somebody for a while you've been trying to call them back into your existence for no avail. And it feels like in some way you almost aren't recognizing that they are still operating with a lot of unhealed shadow. And the reason that they are not responding to this call, or that it's kind of just, it's not able to make any forward progress, is that you're further along on the path in some manner. And that this individual really, like, you need to disconnect from that circumstance and situation. They need to choose to raise their vibration in order to be able to match your frequency. On the other side of that, though, it can really tie into this idea of like yang, a very proactive energy, not kind of waiting till the rug is pulled out from under you, not continuing to, kind of just go down this path almost of ignoring signs, dimming your light to sort of fit in or present sort of a caricature of like letting things slide in a way, even if it's not like outward things that someone you're dealing with is doing. This feels to be something at a vibrational level. Something within you is telling you this situation or this person is not right for me. This is a circumstance that will lead to just limits or stagnation in some way in terms of the experiences of love in this lifetime that my soul is craving. And so this is, kind of like a bridge burning sort of energy right here with yang. You're taking the initiative to step away, to walk away, to continue down your path. Maybe this involves going within and healing to really kind of like solve this mystery for yourself, pick up the pieces. This fiery energy here with yang, cauterize that wounded part of yourself that tolerated something like this, that participated, that, again, it feels like for a lot of you, there were a lot of kind of red flags, indicators, things coming through in dreams, gut reactions, very visceral, like energetically, some kind of like dissonance or disharmony, something that just kind of maybe even made you instinctually very guarded around this individual. And you could have just really chalked it up to maybe taking blame onto yourself, almost like, oh, well, I guess I'm still wounded from love. And maybe you sort of pushed yourself to keep investing with a situation that something just felt off. Something just wasn't right. Your path and this person's path, it's almost like you've reached the end of the road with that, and it's really time to kind of like choose self and move forward. So something that, like, even with that, further down this road on this card here, there is a door. So it's like detaching from this situation. This is not like the end of the story for you as far as love and romance, but it's something that through kind of disconnecting from whatever this is, choosing yourself, choosing love, you are making progress to that door of the heart that is meant to receive you and reciprocate you and match your frequency and light, rather than kind of like hide in your light and create a bit of kind of like disharmony and limitations for you. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi Leo, and welcome to your May love predictions. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and that will set the tone, the theme for the month of May as far as love is concerned. I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, so after I get the romance angel, I'll get a few more cards to dig a little bit deeper, and then a few more after that to round out the reading. Okay, so 2 came out for you, so I will take them both. Okay, we've got calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. And children, your love life is being affected by children. So this can really indicate reconciliation with someone from your past, maybe somebody, you know, young love, an early relationship, something where it was kind of like you were too young to work, the circumstances weren't right, you know, maybe unforeseen circumstances kind of took you both in other directions. It's bringing to mind almost the idea of like secret admirer kind of energy as well. If this isn't applying to somebody from your past who may be circling back around, or it almost feels like with the idea of like calling in your soulmate, that the part of your path that you are on right now, as far as like love and your relationship with self, that it may be sort of you're gravitating back into one another's reality, where this person is like looking you up online, reaching out to you from afar, or you even through, you know, kind of coincidence, serendipity and synchronicity sort of like run into one another. And it's a chance to really like revisit maybe a connection that, you know, didn't get very far off the ground. It might have been somebody you know, went on a few dates with in high school or college, or, you know, was kind of like a relationship at that point in time, and then life kind of took you both in other directions. Fast forward to now when you're like both adults, you're grown, you've been through life experiences, and it might be a chance to kind of recapture those moments, or to experience kind of the true depth of what is possible between you. Again, though, this can also tie into somebody very new with the idea of children, somebody that is coming towards you in a very fresh energy, secret admirer energy, or even just, you know, aside from kind of like a secret admirer energy, this can tie into, you know, a feeling of kind of giddiness that you get when you're with somebody that reminds you of the way that like young or innocent love should feel. A lot of excitement, a lot of hand holding in this circumstance, going out on, you know, like very traditional dates with this type of person. And that in some way, this is really, you know, a very significant connection. Maybe for some of you, this is intersecting with meeting somebody that will be your forever person, or just, you know, you've got a soul contract with this individual to maybe learn and experience a different kind of love than you've known in the past, especially if you've had some really heavy relationships, or you've come out of, you know, kind of a prolonged cycle of being on your own, working on self-love, you know, your abundance. It's almost like it's time for this very fresh energy to come in. It's time for you to learn a different face, a new face of what love is. It's time for a different kind of soulmate, rather than just karmic soulmate, perhaps with very sort of negative, toxic, or heavy connotations with that. This could even be like a karmic soulmate, but good karma. Somebody who, you know, teaches you to enjoy life again, to enjoy romance. It's a very flirty kind of energy, something that really just kind of brightens your world. So it feels like a very positive sort of incoming energy for you. So let's see what else you need to know for love for the month of May. Okay, so we've got love, compassion, rainbow, blessings, and rain, purification. So definitely very beautiful to see this love energy right here. You know, as far as like the other groups that I've done so far, there's been some heavy energies, a lot of people kind of like cutting things away from their life, needing to make space for future experiences of positivity and love. And so this really feels like you've done a lot of that work. You've closed out some pretty major cycles for yourself. You've done the healing work. Maybe you've done some inner child healing, and it's like you're ready for romance. You're ready for partnership. Your efforts are actively possibly manifesting in, you know, this love from afar, kind of two people magnetizing into one another's orbit. Or again, this can talk about, you know, somebody from your past. It doesn't feel to be anything, if it is a past person, where there would have been like a lot of kind of heaviness or baggage in that, but it almost feels to be something like, you know, you went to high school with this person, for example. You both grow up, you go to different colleges, you know, you move away from home, you have a life, you establish yourself elsewhere, and it's just kind of life takes you in different directions only to be brought back together again. So something even with the idea of rain, like a tearful reunion, tears of joy though. If you've been in a lot of seasons of crying, you know, tears of healing, tears of lamentation, you've had a lot of relationships that, you know, left you in tears and needing to pick up the pieces, it's almost like there's going to be tears for joy at kind of the bright energy here, the blessing that this love, this person represents. Kind of like, I needed something like this in my life. It can definitely tie in with the idea of rainbow, like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. This could be the makings as well, with the idea of your soulmate, of your forever person, something that is very long term, something that turns the page for you as far as the type of connections you've been experiencing up to this point, recently, you know, totally in terms of your love life. This is something very fresh. It's something very new. It's not re-entering and rehashing kind of like the old cycles. It's almost this evidence of you've done the healing work. Now you're ready to receive a different kind of love, a very joyous love, a lot of laughter, a lot of celebration in this energy. You know, two people that kind of like light each other up in the heart space. It's maybe somebody who, you know, for a change is able to kind of like reciprocate the love you have to give. You're both really filling each other's cups rather than something being, you know, very one-sided, and kind of again the idea of like learning what love is from very positive experiences as the counterbalance to maybe a season or just the way your love life up to this point in time has been, of perhaps learning the hard way kind of what love is by experiencing what love is not, and needing to kind of work through that maze, work through that mystery. So it's really coming out the other side of perhaps a lot of sort of like deep shadow work, deep healing within. So this is a season of, you know, you're ready to receive, you're calling in something very different for yourself this month. And just a few more oracle cards to round out this energy for you. Okay, we've got To Be Fair and Loyal Heart. So beautiful confirmations of this idea of reciprocity in love. Somebody who is ready, willing, and able to love you. If you were dealing with people that were very unavailable in the past, you know, learning a lot of kind of like karmic soulmates, but with the negative connotation of karma associated with it, it's almost like you've created this balance and equilibrium within yourself. You're giving to yourself. You know, you've come to such a place of self-awareness and self-love, recognizing patterns, working to break through these things, that you're almost like you've reached this place of wholeness within and are now ready to share that with somebody else who is also coming from that place of wholeness within. This is like birds of a feather. You both have been through, it feels like, some pretty tough lessons as far as love is concerned. You know, rather than kind of just this person maybe operating as that breath of fresh air, or, you know, that missing puzzle piece, it's almost like you have each come to a place of wholeness within yourself, that you're just enhanced by the experience of one another. You know, this is a love that kind of exceeds what you have experienced or known in love up to this point in time. And this also is tying in with these two crowns on the owls of like a true divine counterpart, somebody that matches that high value, high vibrational frequency that you are inside. This is not the season for you to kind of slump or, you know, dim your vibration, or have to, you know, kind of lessen yourself, water yourself down in order to, you know, be able to kind of like match the frequency of somebody in love. This is somebody meeting you on your level, you know, kind of just making their way straight across to you. And it's very much like a vibrationally matched energy. So this even ties in if this is somebody, that you knew when you were younger, you knew in childhood, maybe you dated very briefly, in high school you went out on a date, maybe it's your prom date, just whatever that looks like for you. That it's almost like you both have grown and you both have learned, you're both in not even just a better place, but it feels like, for those of you that this is someone resurfacing from the past, it was almost just like you were too young to really know you didn't know yourselves. You needed to go out and experience the world, maybe experience different kinds of partnerships that, the time is kind of like right for this, that if it's kind of like second chance, it's almost like then now it can really begin for real. Something where there needed to be balance or just kind of an accumulation of years or experience on both your parts in order to be able to bring to each other perspective, compassion, love of self, and to be able to reciprocate that in terms of love from one another. So very beautiful energies here for you for the month of May as far as what is arriving, what is inbound for you. And also this idea of like rain and rainbow is kind of just more of that serendipity, more of that synchronicity. Just, all of a sudden you look and there's this person. And it kind of is something that makes you really sort of understand that the tears that you've had to cry in love, this has been the necessary kind of like preparation stage to reach the place within yourself where you're able to appreciate, receive, and reciprocate with a high vibrational connection such as this. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi Virgo. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and this will set the tone, the theme for love for the month of May for you. And then I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading. So after this one, I'll get a few more oracle cards just to add a little bit of depth to this message, and then round it out with a few more oracle cards after that. Okay, so we have separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. This is actually bringing in for me the message that somebody you have been long separated from is returning to your life. So this can be a no contact situation where somebody reaches out, they're ready to reconcile, they're ready to kiss and make up. We are in Mercury retrograde still in the month of May, so this is definitely the time of people from the past re-emerging. This though can also tie into the energy of like a past life soulmate, somebody that lifetimes have separated you is getting ready to pop up into your world, into your experience. And so there may be a lot of deja vu, a sense of knowing and familiarity on a soul level, almost like, have we met somewhere before? And what unfolds from there, it feels to be something that it may be a very kind of intense dynamic where there's a lot of kind of these soul memories of the experiences you've had in past lives with one another, where you're both really drawn together, and yet there's almost an element of like an unconscious fear within each of you that may be very hard to place, because on the surface things could be going good. You both could be open and available to experiencing love with one another. There could be no outside obstacles, or very few that are sort of hindrances to the situation, and yet it's kind of this deeper level of like so drawn to one another and yet so triggered in a sense. So something that really opens the door for you this month to a very profound healing for yourselves, for you and this individual, not in terms of like wounds you sustained in love in this lifetime, although this same theme could have rippled through time and space, and kind of the difficulties you've experienced in love in this lifetime may be kind of a product of this kind of this root wound, or something that kind of occurred between you and this person further back in your past lives, maybe, you know, in the very first past life you've had with one another. And so it's been kind of like a repeating series and cycles of trying to get this thing right. Here it is surfacing once again, not for the purposes of just making your life miserable, but it's almost something where it's like you now have the tools and wisdom in this particular lifetime to dive deeply in, to be able to heal some kind of aspect of yourself at a soul level, in order to kind of wrap up some sort of like loose end for yourself, again, at the soul level. And it also, as far as the dynamic with this person, like that the healing that you do, the experience with one another in this lifetime, it ripples out into those past lives and almost kind of like completes the circle of what might have been unfinished business, or you know, just kind of like this volatility or this intense charge of emotion, things that had kind of lingered and been carried forth, so that your experiences with one another can look different moving forward into lifetimes to come, is what it feels. So big energy for you here. Definitely like a lot more than meets the eye kind of energy this month. So let's see what else you need to know about love. Okay, so we have Whale, Breach, Island, Solitude, and Eagle, Communion. So a couple things coming through with this, the idea with Whale, Breach, again, somebody from the past that you've been in separation from, no contact with. They are popping up very unexpectedly, something that takes you quite by surprise. It feels like something, if this is someone returning, your own intuition doesn't even pick this up. They don't even register on your radar until they're right there in front of you. This may involve like a series of kind of like being in the right place at the right time, synchronicities, you know, serendipities, kind of like a divine orchestration in some manner, that either it's very shocking, and also what feels to be kind of like a shocking element of this can be this element of like elevation or evolution within this individual that's almost, they've really utilized the time apart, this time in solitude, to make some profound strides forward, as far as their spiritual journey, as far as their own healing journey. It's this idea of like the communication between you is on a much different level. It's not at that same vibration that you left things. This can even talk about, you know, a surprising openness that they have to try and work through the difficulties, or insights that they bring forth that really give you something to ponder. You may need to take time apart from the situation. You may actually flip into that role of a runner, and you're like, whoa, this is more than I was expecting. I didn't think they would change like this. I kind of always hoped, but I didn't think it was possible. Here it is in a big way. What do I do with this now? And if this is tying in with the idea of somebody from a past life, you know, kind of like returning to your world, returning to your reality in the form of, you know, somebody you're meeting newly for the first time. This is again big energy, this idea of like a zap that you feel, this soul recognition when you encounter one another, the deja vu, more again like synchronicity, serendipities, angel numbers, just all of those little magical things kind of surrounding this whole situation, that there's a sense of recognition that like this person and I go way back. This is bigger than just what is happening in this dynamic in this lifetime. This also ties into the idea of kind of with Island, Solitude, you know, a bit of kind of triggering that happens in this situation, where it's really requiring you to sort of look at the situation from a bigger lens. Allow yourself to be kind of triggered through all of this, not because you want to sit there and sit in this element of disharmony, but it's almost like, and it feels to be something that mutually both of you are going to be very drawn and triggered to one another. You're going to come close only to kind of pull away, but without these kind of you know, the idea of like island solitude, you're both single, you're both available. This is not something where there's, you know, all of these kind of like moral conundrums and things in the material world standing in the way. And so it's kind of like, what is this feeling? What is this kind of urge to recoil almost? And it's very necessary in order to be able to look at that higher perspective, look beyond, you know, just kind of the root cause being maybe like attachment issues from this lifetime, wounds in this lifetime. Yes, this can still kind of tie into those same themes and archetypes, but this is like diving deep, deeper than you may have had or had the opportunity to be sort of prompted into before. And that the healing work that you do, regardless of kind of what unfolds in the future in this situation, even this kind of like spark or inclination of, I'm going to look outside of the box in this situation, the healing that takes place, the recognition that takes place, the light that is shown on like these depths of like a soul wound that you've been carrying around, that you each have been carrying around. This healing ripples out in a very profound way. The effect that that has, it again kind of like ties up loose ends from past lives. It's something that may help to sort of explain like a recurring series of expectations or experiences even in this lifetime. It's like soul baggage that you as an individual have been carrying around lifetime after lifetime, and that this person kind of like popping into your reality is sort of like, here's a big item on that soul to-do list of what you've come into this reality in this lifetime intending to work on, to chip away at, to start to understand or to heal on some level. So again, like really big energies here. And it's a great comparison with like island and solitude, just this little island, and then we've got this huge whale that way more than meets the eye. It's a lot more, whatever kind of difficulties, whatever sort of pivots away from one another, because this doesn't feel to be something where it's going to be long-term no contact, at least at this phase, but it's just kind of drawn toward each other and then sort of like pulling away. It's kind of like a hot and cold energy on both your parts, but there's a lot more to that than just like commitment issues, for example. It's something deeper than that. It ties in with this soul recognition. This is from an experience way back that's deeply buried. It's going to take almost like creative methods or outside of the box methods, maybe even like shamanic journey work, to be able to kind of understand and really get into that root. But you're being shown that it's almost like a bell is being rung, like, hey, there's something here. You're going to have to dive really deep, but it's going to be worth it in the end to kind of figure this out, or to try and piece this part of yourself back together. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards to round this out for you. Okay, so we've got chop wood and never-ending story. So this ties in very beautifully. Never-ending story, definitely past life person, somebody that you have been dealing with before, and it's just been this like long-term loop between the two of you on a soul level, that you really have an opportunity through this experience with one another in this lifetime to tap into that vein almost, and to really kind of like heal, to cut away, to clear the clutter, almost like remove the scales from your eyes that keep you from seeing very deeply the nature of your own soul, and kind of beyond the experiences that you have with people, you know, face to face, or in like a tangible sense, a material sense in this lifetime. You have this ability to like dive deeper, to clear away a lot of this heaviness, this burden that you've been carrying on a soul level, you know, across time and space. Never-ending story. It's a timelessness to this. This is like ancient wound kind of energy here, that this circumstance, this person really comes into your life to kind of pivot you on this very deep dive as far as your soul healing and some profound shadow work that may need to take place. That it's not just healing from things in this lifetime. You're going deep with this energy. This also ties in, though, again, like never-ending story. You know, somebody you've been in no contact with, maybe a long time has passed, you thought they're never returning, you've given up hope in the situation, you've just written it off, you've tried to move forward, it is what it is, and lo and behold, they pop back up. But in this ability to actually truly create change in the situation, they've cleared away a lot. They are coming towards you in a lighter energy. Maybe there were external obstacles, or even just with all this kind of watery energy and kind of this etheric sort of mental or like air energy. It may even just had to do with something like heartbreak from their past that had caused them to be very kind of skeptical or pessimistic about love or getting back into a connection. That might have been really a block or a wedge as to why they ran from you. And it feels like for a lot of you, they've taken substantial steps to understanding that part of themselves, clearing that away, and it's almost like they bring forth a different kind of communication. You're working with a different series of energies with this person at this point, kind of going forward to where a different type of future can be written. It doesn't need to continue to be this kind of perpetual round and round. They've elevated in some manner and are kind of like ready to release the two of you from a cycle that you've been in with one another in the past, if you choose to open that door, because they themselves have opened some door of perception and done some major kind of like healing and rebalancing within themselves. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi Libra. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and this is going to set the tone or the theme for the month of May as far as love is concerned. I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, so after I get this one, I'll pull some others to dig a little bit deeper into those energies, and then a few more to round out the reading. Okay, we've got playfulness to recapture romance. Allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So definitely a lot of flirtation, a lot of invitations, dates, people asking you out, people giving you flowers, extending compliments, and a very light energy. It feels to be a very magnetic frequency that you are in at this point in time, but something where you're really magnetizing in positive experiences, a lot of like flattery and compliments, and a lot of, it feels like a dance card that will be very full because these are actually invitations you're wanting to accept. Or it's this idea of like openness, open-mindedness. If you at one point in time had been very fixed on a particular individual, very fixed on kind of what that perfect partner would look like, it definitely feels to be something where there's more of an openness, where you're willing to explore, you're willing to experiment, you're willing to kind of step outside of the box in some manner. Maybe, you know, getting out there, putting yourself out there again, or just being a little more open-minded as far as like the types of people that you are, you know, going to get to know, that you're going to spend time with. Kind of extending your type, so to speak, trying on new things, a new version of yourself as well that may tie into like a glow up that you've recently had, work that you've been putting in on yourself. It's kind of like butterfly emerging from the cocoon energy. And in this energy of levity, it's you're having a lot of people magnetized in toward that light that you are. You're shining very brightly, and you feel to be calling in a lot of resonant frequencies for you as far as love is concerned. This can also be something where if you've been seeing somebody, you know, maybe just kind of like casually dating or even like a crush situation, that it's almost like that energy of flirtation kind of picks up the pace. This can even be something where, you know, this is kind of like a friend, maybe like a friend crush kind of situation. And for some of you, this starts to kind of lean into more of those romantic kind of energies, a lot more of those innuendos and the flirtations. And it's almost like that dynamic is starting to kind of evolve or morph or shift into the direction of maybe this could become something more. So just right away, it's a very light energy. It's a very just kind of, you know, you're not taking things too seriously, just really kind of being in the moment, seeing what comes, being open, being receptive, focusing on really just having a good time, as a contrast maybe to a period of like shadow work or introspection you've been in, or just like a heaviness or kind of very fixed maybe on even finding your forever partner, magnetizing in a particular type of person. You're really kind of embodying that energy of allowing, just kind of trusting in what the universe is really bringing forth to you. So let's see what else you need to know as far as the month of May is concerned. Okay, so we've got forest, breath, eagle, communion, and dragonfly, emergence. Yeah, so I love that this came through, this dragonfly and the emergence. It's that butterfly from the cocoon. This is a transformation energy, some kind of glow up, something that you've been working on internally or externally about yourself and about your life. You have raised your frequency. You're emitting a very high vibration, a very positive vibration. This is the energy of really embodying that love that you seek, and seeing results this month in the form of, you know, people gravitating towards you rather than just kind of like moths to a flame. Though these are like eagles, these are high vibrational people, these are high quality, you know, persons of interest that are coming in your direction. And granted, in this energy of magnetism, it feels that there'll be all kinds of people giving you attention, but it feels like there's going to be a more substantial push of individuals that you're like, okay, well, I could go out with you. I could go have a cup of coffee. Yeah, I'll strike up a conversation. And it's not just a series of like having to be discerning and having to kind of, you know, weed through what's coming towards you in order to find, you know, opportunities or offers of substance and intrigue. It's like in addition to sort of those things that are, you know, just the immediate kind of like, I'll pass that by, that's not for me. Your discernment is so on point that it's just those other elements are not even registering into this reading. The focus here is just your sights are definitely going to be fixed and set on these higher vibrational energies. You know, you're shining bright, you're really flying high this month, and it's drawing in a lot of attention, but not just people who are going to sit on the sidelines and watch passively. You know, this is kind of like an energy of courage. This is people who, with that idea of breath and forest, they're going to initiate conversation. They're going to reach out. They're going to, you know, the dialogues and the exchanges, the experiences with one another. It's going to be something that makes you feel very fulfilled. A lot of growth potential in these circumstances. You know, not so much like time wasters or people who are like, that was pretty awful, I don't know why I put myself through that. You know, this is something that it's a very enriching kind of energy. It's a lot of fun that you're having. It's something where, you know, it kind of like, it's maybe even a boost of confidence that you need from all of these people, like admiring, paying compliments, flirting, you know, being more bold as to like ask you out and spending time with people, you know, that it really is sort of, especially if you're just like freshly emerging from a glow up or coming out of kind of a heavy shadowy period, or you've just turned the page in your life in some way, it's almost like you're being well received by that. You know, the universe has applauded you. You've applauded yourself. You've become that love you are seeking. And now others outside of yourself are really acknowledging that, really drawn towards you, and really having something, you know, of a high value to bring. This is not all just like, you know, toxic, creepy kind of energies coming towards you. This is something where, you know, there's a lot of people that are also, they are having something of substance to present to you. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards to round this out. Okay, we've got Treasure Island and Milk and Honey. So beautiful energies that really confirm quality people, quality energies coming towards you, things that are really intriguing. It's not just, you know, the same old, like the low vibration, something that's just kind of dull or represents a type of person you were dealing with before. This is kind of like outside of the box energy right here. Something within you has shifted. You've expanded like a rigid stance of just one particular person, and there's an open-mindedness within you. It's this openness in your energy, the willingness to kind of see beyond appearances and really just feel into vibration, or to even be very discerning and just very quick in your sort of elimination process. It feels right, it doesn't feel right. There's not this period of like deliberating and standing still in time and, you know, just, well, you know, questioning the intuition. This is kind of like a fast, as much as there's like a turtle that's, you know, very slow here. It's the idea of all of this kind of this popping abundance coming out of that box is it's a lot of fast moving energy that over the course of the month very slowly brings you into kind of solidifying this whole new sort of chapter experience as far as romance and partnership. Again, milk and honey, a lot of substance, a lot of good times and joy and fun, as opposed to just like heaviness or drama. You're not focused on that this month. You're not focused on that within yourself. And it's really like attracting like in this situation in terms of people that are in this joyous, abundant, vibrant vibration in the same way that you are. A different kind of beacon you are sending out that is calling in a different type of suitor for yourself. Things that you're going to feel really fulfilled by the experiences. You're going to have a good time. You're going to have good experiences. There's going to be a lot of like laughter and joy and just quality time with people, as opposed to, you know, you're kind of left wondering, you're left sitting by the phone, your messages are left unanswered. No, this is the energy of, you know, participation, people who are very engaged. It's, you know, things that have a lot of growth potential, or even if it's just somebody you go out on one date with, you had a good time with that person. It's not the going home and rolling your eyes and saying, well, that was a waste of time, I should have just stayed home. You know, this is definitely something where it's feeding you on a soul level. It's, you know, feeding self-esteem. It's something where you're really fed by the experiences of even just trying on something new, going somewhere you hadn't gone before, having an experience that's, you know, the memories of that you can like cherish with you. So it's a very positive vibration here for the month of May for you. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Scorpio. So I'm going to start with a Romance Angels, and this is going to set the tone for the month of May as far as love is concerned. This is going to be an Oracle cards only reading, so after I get this one, I'll get a few more to add a little bit of depth to those energies and round it out with a few more Oracle cards. Okay, separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. So this is really bringing the message, needing time to think. So this can tie into kind of a bump in the road that you and somebody have reached, and it is very necessary to take time away from one another. So a period of introspection, separateness, quiet time to really go to your own corners and think about what has taken place, what you want, where the connection is going moving forward. This is also really giving me the energy of kind of choosing better for yourself in some manner. So doing an inventory of people that you are dealing with currently, maybe somebody that you have been on hold with for a period of time and time's ticking, they're not coming back, nothing's really changing, and it's almost like this sense of how much longer are you going to kind of wait or put your life on hold in some manner for somebody who, you know, has not shown any evidence of change up to this point in time. So a bit of kind of like space or distance or even disconnect from that idea of reunion, of them changing, of, you know, the unfinished business between the two of you being completed in this lifetime, which essentially creates openness and space within you to start to look in a different direction. What if there's something else? What if the person that I thought was the one was just the one for a season? What if I have changed so much that there's a different forever somebody I am needing to make my way toward? So this is almost tying into the idea of becoming unstuck in some way. This can also relate to the idea of if you've been kind of like closed for spiritual maintenance, you've not been engaging in romantic partnerships, you've, you know, really just kind of put the brakes on to pick up the pieces from a previous situation, from something you were needing to like heal and sort of recover from. This can talk about the separation from that place of healing. At least putting the open sign out, energetically speaking, once again, where you're accepting applicants for kind of like the position by your side. You're willing to entertain offers from people once again. Something within your vibration that you're putting out, it sends a different signal this month to where you may be starting to call in perhaps people from the past, but more than likely just opening yourselves up to the currency and frequency. And even that I meant to say current, but I said currency of love. So this feels to be something like high value partnerships. You're, you know, kind of reach this place of you feel like you've healed sufficiently, you're done kind of being alone, you're ready to exchange with somebody else again. It may just be during this month that it's just that openness, opening your mind, opening your vibration in some manner, you know, maybe starting to put yourself out there a little bit more, but it feels to be just opening to that receptivity rather than kind of like action steps forward to kind of align with somebody or, you know, making the first move, for example. It's just something within you that may have just been an energy of kind of pushing things away or keeping like a guardedness or barriers around yourself. You're switching the polarity on that to where you're now ready to kind of call in a new experience, call in love again. So let's see, what else do you need to know for the month of May? Okay, so we've got forest, breath, stone people, vigilance, and autumnal equinox, release. So this idea of release can definitely talk about somebody that you're dealing with currently and kind of a parting of the ways, closing out that chapter, you know, maybe taking a break, maybe something a lot more permanent than that in order to be able to clear the way for somebody who's a better vibrational match to align with you. So if that's the case, this can almost be where you're putting those walls up with the stone people and vigilance. You're not entertaining, you're not participating with something you had been invested in, even if this is kind of just like actively waiting in place for somebody. There's almost like releasing that idea, shutting that door, walling off that chamber or that version of yourself in order to, you know, kind of choose a different version of love, choose a love that wants to participate with you, somebody who's growth oriented, somebody who's able to, you know, reciprocate, kind of like give and receive in equal measure versus anything that might have been kind of lopsided, had gone sour, or had just reached its point of completion. This can talk about, completions, kind of like set in stone. The story's over. That dance has finished. And so it may be an energy of kind of like melancholy. It's kind of it's a sad completion. It's a sad conclusion. It will be, that person will be missed, but at the same time, it creates space within for something that's in better alignment to come in, or for you to kind of move toward a heart that is really meant for you, or your experiences of love in kind of this version of who you are. There's a need to close out the old, to finish off with the old, to kind of close that chapter in order to be able to step into a season of rebirth and growth. To almost continue to participate in something any longer, it becomes apparent in some manner that will just result in stagnancy. There's nothing more to learn. There's nothing more to grow in that situation. It's kind of like it's reached its end phase. It's time to separate. It's time to release. It's time to cut that off, wish it well, send it on its way, and move forward in another direction. This can also, though, tie into the idea of like walls and like a guard that you've had up where your heart's been really closed. You've been picking up the pieces. You've been healing and kind of recovering, coming to know yourself, kind of focusing on self-love, rather than trying to enter into romantic connections again and sort of replay the same themes of the past, the same kind of like narrative of the past, that you're at this place of releasing that identity as being that work in progress. You're taking down that kind of wall, that stoniness, and instead opening yourself up to this energy of, I'm ready to let love in again. I'm ready to close out that chapter or that particular phase of my romantic life and step into something new. I'm interested in growth rather than continuing to kind of be in almost like a cocoon energy, something that was just, again, closed for spiritual maintenance, leaning into the energy of openness again, open to receive, even just cracking the door of your heart open ever so slightly. It feels to be something that just sort of, the time is right for that. It's time to kind of grow or move beyond something. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards to round this out for you. Okay, so we've got come to the edge and breathe. So this come to the edge, this is really tying in with that idea of, something that you've been engaged with that has kind of reached its completion, it's reached its conclusion. It's time to take that leap of faith in a new direction, kind of wish that situation well, wish that person well, send them on their way with love, or you move on your way with love in mind, love of self, reciprocal love with another, the love you are seeking, whatever that action step is, in the direction of also really out of a cycle of just being very focused on like healing, picking up the pieces. You've completed that. It's time to come to the edge of this like guardedness within yourself, or anything that you've been just kind of fixed on, whatever this last cycle of romance and love and dealings and emotions has been for you. It's time to kind of like step beyond that. It's that leap of faith in a new direction, setting off on a new adventure. The energy of the Fool here, going forth into the unknown and trusting that your wisdom and discernment will serve you well, trusting in the work that you've done within yourself, your knowledge of self, trusting that what you're making your way toward does not need to be kind of a repeat of past cycles, but that you're ready to experience something different. You're ready to kind of take that leap of faith to the openness of love to come. And also with this energy here of breathe, this can talk about kind of this lotus flower emerging here, coming out of maybe stagnancy in some way. If it's dealing with a particular person, and the situations become very stale, very stagnant, very sour, it's giving yourself some breathing room. It's choosing that kind of fresh air, a fresh environment, recognizing that, that circumstance may have kind of outlived its utility. It's come to its completion. It is no longer serving both those individuals, or it's no longer serving you. And so, taking that breath, that deep breath in before that kind of plunge or that leap forward, into something new. And interestingly, we have breathe and breath here on the forest card. So definitely talking about, you know, an energy of expansion. As much as there may be release and closure that is involved, it's something that ultimately opens up possibilities for you. It's something that it may be kind of a sigh of relief once whatever this chapter is completed, whether this is disconnecting or creating distance from somebody, that it's almost like when that takes place, you feel so much lighter in your own energy that it confirms that it was the right decision to making, and you can continue to move forward without looking back. If you've been in a circumstance where you've been kind of walled off or in a cocoon, it's almost like, you know, you need that fresh air. It's like stepping forth. It's the butterfly emerging, taking flight into those new horizons. You're ready. Your wings are ready. Whatever that is, you know, the release and maybe you're cocooning, you're healing. If it's the release to, you know, in the continued pursuit of something else, you know, if this is coming out of the cocoon for the first time in a while, or just that openness, you know, kind of letting the light in, opening the windows, opening that heart space once again, it's definitely leaning into the energy of whatever this mechanism is. It's growth oriented. It's, you know, even kind of endings and goodbyes. This is like it's closing one door and immediately sort of stepping forth into this new and lighter phase for yourself and ultimately for your experiences of love to come. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Sagittarius. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and this will set the tone and theme for love for the month of May. This is going to be an Oracle Cards only reading, so after this one I'll get a few more to add a little more depth and meaning to the messages and round it out with a few more Oracle Cards after that. Okay, so we have honeymoon, enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. So for some of you who are traveling this month, you may meet somebody, sparks may fly. This could be a very blissful occurrence with somebody where, you know, there's a lot of connection, there's a lot of chemistry, something that as you are each going your separate ways, it leaves a lot to think about. There's a curiosity, there's a questioning. It's almost like this door that opens, perhaps even for some of you who might not have ever given much thought or had been appealed to, or, you know, had been drawn to long distance connections. That something might change for you this month where, you know, your previous kind of like ideas or reservations about that are thrown out the window because of somebody that you meet. This can also tie into somebody that you're talking to, somebody that you're dating, maybe even like a friend, you know, that there's kind of like a crush situation on, for example, or a coworker or something. Somebody reaches out, a connection evolves to a new phase. So maybe this is like a coworker that asks you out for coffee. You take them up on that offer and you find out the two of you have a lot in common. You have a really good time. It opens the door to, you know, maybe exploring the romantic implications of the connection. Or somebody you're dating, you know, makes that declaration. They want to be serious. They want to be monogamous. Some of you, this could be the invitation to move in with one another. Even with this idea of honeymoon, for some of you, there could be a proposal in the works, something where you might even, with this idea of like weddings, you might even meet somebody at a wedding during the month of May that, again, that idea of like sparks fly. You both go your separate ways, and it's this energy of kind of like, who was that person? And and then begins the process of like research and, you know, reconnection, and just a very like sweet love story that it feels like is either getting ready to, you're going to experience the next chapter of it, or it's just getting ready to start for the first time. Those first little seeds of recognition are getting ready to be planted. And I'm having this kind of like visual, this vision of Cupid and his arrow. And so again, kind of like the spark of love is getting ready to kind of just hit you and somebody else very immediately, very surprising in a very pleasant way, almost feeling like you're on cloud nine, either dealing with somebody like in their presence. It's just it's a very kind of like sweet energy. It's a very, you know, it's newness, it's not being able to get enough of one another, really enjoying the time spent with one another, wanting to take things further to the next step in a very positive way this month. So let's see what else wants to come through for you for the month of May. So I was only going to take 3 of these cards, but 4 came out, so I will take all 4. We've got Music, Harmony, Desert, Vision Quest, Wolf, Instinct, and Wind, Activation. Yeah, so this idea of like wind activation, something's getting ready to start, or the pace is getting ready to pick up. It's this idea of like a change in the wind, the next manifestation of love, the next partner, the next, you know, phase of your loving connection. If you're already with someone, that's getting ready to shift and unfold and really kind of reveal itself this month. The idea of music and harmony, that again ties into the idea of, you know, celebrations and outdoor gatherings, maybe weddings or other kind of like festivities or events, something that may be kind of the stage of where you are encountering this individual. It also speaks to that idea of like bliss, harmony, a very beautiful chapter of a lot of cohesion between you and somebody else, things going really well. And this idea of kind of like you've been wandering in the desert, maybe just single for a really long time, no prospects on the horizon. Maybe you haven't even been focused on love, or, you know, you've reached kind of a plateau in a particular connection and relationship. And there may have even been a questioning for some of you, like, is this sustainable? Where is this going? What are these person's intentions? A lot of kind of mystery. Like even for some of you, the spark or the joy had kind of dwindled. If that's the case, it feels like it's amping up this month. There's going to be like a rejuvenation. Maybe you and a partner take a vacation somewhere together, a getaway, and it brings forth so much healing and catharsis. For some of you, I'm even hearing renewing of vows. So like a recommitment to one another, conversations that take place that just reinstill hope in some manner, that the connection is worth fighting for, that you're still invested with one another, that you're still in love after all this time, or, you know, interested in kind of like continuing on, continuing forth. This desert is also bringing to mind the idea of like an oasis in the desert, something you've really been craving as far as like the sweetness of love, something that's really been missing in your life, especially if you've not been focused on love, you've been focused on other things. It's almost like the universe knowing that you need this. You need this special energy. You need this. It's not that it completes or fills a gap within you, but it's almost like cherry on the cake kind of energy. Like you're ready for this. You're deserving of this. Take that treat. Take that holiday. Take that indulgence. You know, you're deserving of this. It's a well-earned kind of period in your romantic life. And the idea of wolf and instinct is, you know, it's again this idea of like long distance. It's bringing to mind kind of like wolves calling out to each other across that kind of foresty or mountainous kind of scene. So again, some of you, this may be somebody you encounter that lives at a distance. You encounter them while you're traveling. It's something that even gives you perspective about longevity, or things kind of like moving to the next beginning phase of a longer sort of cycle or stage with a particular individual. It's also the idea of like deep compatibility with one another. So soul tribe, you know, like a soulmate kind of energy definitely coming in for you. Something that just instinctually, it just, something clicks. There's that spark, there's that electricity, there's that zap of like, I have to get to know this person. I have to seek this person out. I have to be around this person's energy. And with these mountains in the background, definitely there could be like challenges as far as, you know, you see someone, you encounter someone, and then there's kind of this energy of needing to sleuth, who was that person, to find them, inquiries that are made. And so a period of kind of the initial spark, and then that sort of detective work that is done to pivot things to the next level. Or even if you're in kind of a challenging stage with one another, if you're currently in a situation you're not sure where things are really going, it's this idea of no longer facing that challenge, but whatever is provided or presented as far as romance helps you to kind of like move beyond that and you know, kind of head in a different direction in the situation. So it's some kind of peace of mind or reassurance that is provided, that you're not continuing to head in the direction of, you know, obstacle, but it's almost like those obstacles have been overcome, or there's a conversation that takes place, some kind of vow or commitment to try and work through these things, or to shift the situation in a different direction with one another. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards just to finish this out for you. Okay, so we've got Thinker, and Yin. So this yin energy is definitely that sweetness, that bliss, that honeymoon energy, a lot of harmony there. You know, this energy as well, that like if you haven't been focused on love, if this is somebody new, that kind of like zap, that electricity, that Cupid's arrow, it's like you're ready to receive. You have mastered the energy on some level of, you know, abundance for self, filling your own cup, loving yourself so much that you're not willing to kind of like lower your standards or settle in some manner. You're okay with being alone. You're okay with walking your path alone until that resonant soul finds you. And if this is something you've been endeavoring for quite some time, you've almost, with this idea of Thinker, changed your view on what you're seeking in partners, what you're seeking for yourself. You're kind of like, your main focus has been self and abundance and you know, glow ups and any other kind of goals that you're working toward. That it's the universe saying you're ready to receive. You're about ready to receive you know, this different kind of partnership. Something that really maybe challenges your views in a way as well, especially if you have ideas about like, I don't want to deal with long distance relationships and people at a distance. That's not for me. This may be something that just kind of, you're forced to kind of throw those ideas out the window. Something that just in an instant really kind of expands your mind in some manner. This can tie into, again, that idea of like two people who sort of like meet, they see each other, and then there's this thought, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to find one another again? But not just something that kind of like, it may lead into a passive sort of energy, but it's something where it's not just you're encountering one another for this instant kind of spark, and then you're left wondering for the rest of your life what could have happened. It's almost something that kind of lends into this energy of like intrigue, kind of like follow the trail left by the divine. It requires effort and receptivity, a lot of kind of like signs and nudges that may sort of redirect you back around to one another. You know, and even something, if this is like a current connection where you've really been thinking like, is this it? Is this the end of the road? Is this all there is? Are we going to make it? Are we even interested in trying? You know, it's this idea of, again, kind of like the gentleness, the restoration, receiving that confirmation that the situation is worth fighting for, that the love is still there. It's a reestablishment of that harmony, that recommitment with one another, like second honeymoons, recommitting of vows, something that really just is demonstrated or received even by you from your partner that gives you peace of mind in a way. Any kind of like rumination or fear or anxiety that you've had, it feels like this month it's something where you're able to just really enjoy the experience with the other person. You're given peace of mind, the oasis in the desert, something that's just very blissful and very beautiful, and heavy vibes of like romance, definitely for you this month. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi Capricorn. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and this will set the tone and theme for love for the month of May. This is going to be an oracle cards only reading, so after I get this one, I'll get a few more oracle cards to add some depth and clarity to that, and then a few more after that to round out the reading. Okay, so you had two of them, so I will take both. We have, it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. And soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. So if you had been on the fence about somebody, not sure if you should give this person a chance, maybe somebody new who pops into your life this month and you're feeling drawn to them, you're feeling curious, but maybe you have worked on your discernment. You're not willing to just let anybody into your energy again. You've been through a very tough road of kind of healing and picking up the pieces in some manner. Your guard may be up. Your discernment may be on point. This can be that confirmation that it's safe to let those walls down a little bit. You know, take the time that you need, honor that part of yourself, but really checking in and making sure that you're not pushing away new opportunities, almost in a sense of creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, some kind of wounding of the past that you may need to really just leave by the wayside in order to be able to enjoy the fruits of love and romance that are either at your doorstep in your life right now or are coming to you this coming month. So, you know, this can even tie into the idea of, you know, you are on the path to meet your soulmate, but first you're needing to kind of like accept the victory within yourself that the patterns of the past don't need to dictate what you experience in the future. You're wiser, you're smarter now. You know yourself on a deeper level. Your discernment is on point. And in order to be able to kind of align with your soulmate, you're going to need to put yourself out there in some manner. So maybe some of you who have been afraid to open up your heart to love again, to date again, this can be that kind of like nudge, just a little bit of tough love. It doesn't feel too tough. It's just a little bit kind of grainy here as far as like, you're never going to meet your soulmate if you just sit at home. You know, put yourself out there more, open yourself up more, even just energetically speaking. You may be unconsciously kind of like putting off a vibe that tells people, I'm not interested, I'm closed off, and it's an energy of kind of like opening. You know, put that armor down a little bit, let that wall down a little bit, take that guard down just a little bit so that you're able to kind of like peek beyond, let yourself be seen, let yourself be experienced. You know, you don't need to walk this path in life alone. There is love out there for you, but you're never going to find it unless you kind of like make yourself be found, or you actively kind of get in this process of looking around, you know, not like chasing, but seeking. Exploration is really a theme with this as well. So let's see, what else do you need to know for the month of May? So we've got forest, breath, fairies, earth magic, and tsunami, wake-up call. Yeah, so this tsunami energy, this is tying into that kind of like semi-tough love energy that was coming through of, you know, you're not going to find your true love if you're completely just walled off to the experience of exchanging energy with other people. That there is that magical connection. There is that higher level love that you are seeking, but it can only be found by stepping outside of your comfort zone in some manner. Opening your heart up with the idea of forest and breath is a surefire way to allow yourself to receive, you know, kind of this magic of love, to call that into your life. This can also talk about, you know, signs and synchronicities that you may have been getting. If this is really relating to somebody you're dealing with currently, where you've been questioning kind of, is this my person? Is this a connection worth continuing to invest in? Or is this just going to be a repeat of cycles and patterns, and you've kind of been keeping them at arm's length? You've been on the fence about that. You know, this can also talk about looking to those signs, getting those confirmations. Perhaps they've already been speaking to you, that are just getting like louder and louder. This idea of like tsunami and wake up call, kind of, again, a little more of tough love for you here, about like, how many more signs do you need? How much more confirmation do you need? You've been given the green light in this situation. Why aren't you going for it? Why aren't you moving forward? So that being something as like a theme this month, maybe even somebody new getting ready to pop up into your world where you could stumble into that. You almost are like not willing to kind of like move forward in some way, not willing to accept the blessing of this situation that is being presented to you, and the universe really being like, hey, it's here. How much more clear do you really need all of these signs and kind of these cues to be? So on some level, it can really pertain to, you know, a bit of kind of like this unconscious, like this emotional wounding within yourself, like a fear of being hurt again, because this doesn't feel like anyone who's really just oblivious or stubborn. It's just really this self-protective mode, and so it's only kind of like a semi-tough love message here. You know, it's not meant to really take the stick to this situation. It's just really this gentle urge of like, it's okay to let that guard down. It's okay to let yourself live a little. It's okay to let love in. You've done a very beautiful job of healing and picking up the pieces from the last cycle, and now, you know, the universe is wanting to bestow upon you this soulmate love, this very special love, this very unique love that you've been preparing for quite some time. So kind of like get ready to receive, because it's coming in quicker than you may have imagined. Or if this is somebody that's already shown up, it's like, you know, they're here, they got big love to offer to you, and the only thing really standing in the way of that is kind of like you and your heart space. So a couple more oracle cards just to round this reading out for you. Okay, so we've got come to the edge and deep knowing. So confirmation right there with deep knowing of like, you've been getting the signs. We've given them to you. How many more signs do you need? That this is a connection that is in alignment with what you have been looking for. So if you're watching this and you have somebody particular in mind, or when somebody pops up and you start questioning, you start asking for signs and then more signs and more signs, this can be kind of tracing back then to this reading of like, you need to just kind of open up. You need to allow yourself to experience this. Don't look for like the ways in which you could be proven wrong, perhaps. Look for the ways in which you could be proven pleasantly surprised or right in this circumstance. And again, the idea of like, come to the edge. It's time to release the wall around your heart. You can only find your true love if you allow yourself to be found. So those of you who have been in a period of time where you've been focused on self, focused on your healing, now's the time to really get out there in some kind of way. For some of you, that's going to be, you know, like dating websites. That's going to be going out and about in public, accepting invitations from friends, making yourself seen and visible in some way. For others of you, it's more subtle. It's just something in kind of like the emotional body and the perception, kind of like this period of time of like suffering in silence, or, you know, this process of kind of raising your standard, loving yourself back to a place of recognizing your own innate wholeness. You've aligned with that. You are balanced within yourself. So just, starting to set those intentions this month of, I am healed and I am ready to receive a healthy and reciprocal love. Incorporating that into your energy, into your approach, sends out a very different frequency to where rather than kind of like repelling, you're stepping into this energy of attracting the abundance of love, that soulmate love, that higher level love that you are wanting to experience. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Aquarius. So I'm going to start with a Romance Angels card, and that will set the tone and theme for love for the month of May. This is going to be an Oracle Cards only reading, so after I get this one, I will get a few more from this deck, just to add some more depth and clarity to these messages, and then round it out with a few from this deck. Okay, we have new love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. So pretty obvious energy right there. Somebody new coming into your world. For some of you, it's feeling like the energy of it's about time. Like it may have been where it's just nobody that has caught your attention. It's just been crickets. It's been dust. It's been so dry in the department of romance. A sense of, trying to make the most of that time, focusing on the abundance, filling your own cup. But really, like, this is indicating that, you're ready to receive. Your efforts to manifest in that perfect partner have not been in vain. If it feels like it's been a long wait until you are, encountering somebody interesting, somebody, this isn't just like new dates are coming in for you, this is new love. This is like can lead to new partnerships. It's a very positive energy, a very positive experience that is getting ready to come in for you. So this can also tie into, for some of you, someone from the past returning, but it's like they're a new person. They've actually done the work. They've done their glow up. They've done their shadow work. They have healed. They have raised that vibration. They have stepped into that best version of themselves. It's a very celebratory energy. This isn't just like, oh, great, they figured out some lesson. Great, they're back here again to, try and put you through the ringer of the same cycle that you'd been through. It's like they're a brand new person. It is like meeting one another again for the first time. In some way, they are matching your frequency because of the ways in which you have really grown and up-leveled and healed. They wouldn't even be able to reach you in this capacity. It's almost like they would go unnoticed, or if they were still operating in kind of a shadowy energy, they wouldn't even be able to kind of like reach you at this frequency. And so this doesn't apply to someone from the past who comes forth. A lot of this is very like, it's very intuitive. You'll just know something will seem different about this person, or it'll be very obvious that they have changed. If this requires like lifestyle changes, changes in getting rid of like toxic patterns and habits, moving beyond like karmic situations. It'll be things to where it's so obvious that they have done this complete 180 in their life. This isn't just they've worked on one thing. It's almost like everything is different in some manner. It doesn't apply to people that come forth with just the same excuses, the same tricks, the same, kind of clutter or garbage going on in their life or in their psyche, or that's not the energy of this returning person potentially, and not for all of you. For a lot of you, this definitely feels like fresh new person, brand new person, sigh of relief. But it is worth mentioning that for a chunk of you, there will be that person you've been in separation from, maybe like a twin flame dynamic, like a back and forth kind of dynamic. And they actually have, you know, maybe this time around, maybe it's been several cycles of disconnect, that there's been marked change in this person where they get it finally. They're able to like speak to you on this new frequency that you are embodying. So it's not even just reconciliation. It's really like fresh start. It's, for a lot of you, this can even be something that didn't, it was like a false start kind of energy, and maybe now they've done the work, they've cleared circumstances out, they've had such a major evolution, now they can give it a go for real this time. Now there's not all those obstacles, now they've cleared the space within their life and within their energy to really house and nourish the love between you. So let's see what else you need to know about love for the month of May. Okay, so we have ancestors, generations, meadow, vulnerability, and spring equinox, rebirth. So definitely that idea of, first of all, with that spring equinox rebirth, this can talk about, you know, person from the past who has done the work. They're coming to you with open arms. They're coming to you without all the clutter and baggage. They've closed out karmic cycles for themselves, be broken away from kind of these generational patterns, generational curses. You know, they're ready for a fresh start. They actually have something to give that can, seeds of potential that can be nurtured into new possibilities between you. Aside from that, as far as like new person is concerned, this idea of ancestors is almost somebody that your passed on loved ones on the other side have like aligned you with this individual. It's somebody who's been like specifically picked for you. It's like a really good choice. It's something that there's a lot of spiritual backing to this situation. You know, spirit guides, angels, kind of like both your spirit teams really colluding in the ethers to get you two together. I'm hearing to get those kids together. And then finally, as in like a parentheses. So maybe this is something like over the course of lifetimes, it could be like a past life soulmate, for example, that it's been a lot of just things didn't work out. So it's like, okay, we're going to try again. This can be somebody that, you know, again, that sort of like false start energy, and really, you know, the spirit teams kind of like working overtime to work with each of you individually to bring forth like a union or a beginning even that is like long overdue or should have happened long ago. This also ties in though to the idea of two people who have been on an individual journey of, you know, maybe like a death and rebirth process. It's going to be somebody who's spiritually awakened, somebody who's in alignment with your frequency and vibration. And a lot of kind of like help from the etheric realm to, again, sort of get all the moving parts in alignment so that, you know, this love story can finally unfold. This idea with meadow and vulnerability is this openness. This is, you know, you're open to receive, and kind of that love you've been seeking finally comes towards you. It's something that has a lot of growth potential to it with the idea of spring equinox and rebirth. It may be a situation that kind of, it very quickly develops. This is not like I mean, it can be like a slow burner. The ancestors' generations, this can speak to long-term potential. So even with this new love, this could be your forever person coming in, or just a long-term relationship in the making. But it feels to be something that, you know, kind of like the initial spark and chemistry, it's going to be very sweet. It's going to be very apparent. It's going to be something where even if there are, you know, shadows that you trigger within one another, that there's this consistency. There's a lot of growth. It's feelings that very quickly develop on both sides for one another. So that could be a change of pace if you were dealing with people that were kind of like fearful of commitment, maybe people who are a bit sort of reserved or just not comfortable in their emotional body. This is like the energy of someone who might be kind of sentimental. They're very sweet, they're very giving, very compatible love languages between you. It's a very beautiful energy of new love. And it feels, you know, every connection has its ups and downs, but it feels, at least in kind of this primary stage of this situation coming in, or this person coming back around, it's a restorative energy. It's something that has a lot of growth potential. It's something that really kind of like makes both of you smile. It's a very sweet and tender kind of energy that, you know, feels like is long awaited. It's long overdue, and something that you're definitely deserving of this coming in at this point in time. So I'm going to get a few more oracle cards for you just to round out this reading. So we've got milk and honey and TikTok. Yeah, so that's tying in with the idea of like about time somebody new showed up, about time this person from the past got their act together, made their change. You know, this is something about like past life energy as well. Again, like spirit guides, ancestors, passed on loved ones, everyone working around the clock to, you know, make a way for this connection. This is coming in real fast this month. The idea of like time speeding up, or even time stopping when you're with one another. It's just a very, a lot of fluttery kind of feelings, a lot of sweetness with milk and honey. This is the real deal here. This is not just new love where it's going to be all butterflies for a week and then you're, you know, crying yourself to sleep every night. This is something that has a lot of growth potential to it. This is something that is like you're stepping into this season of abundance. And it mirrors the abundance that you've really cultivated within. Like you've completed this task of becoming that love you seek within yourself, and you're now ready to receive that outwardly. There's a reciprocity with all of this as well, that it's two givers. It's two people who know how to fill their own cup. It's two people who have done the work, who really, they aren't the missing piece. They don't like serve as a placeholder to fill some kind of void within one another, but it's almost like adding to the measure of the joy in one another's lives. It's cherry on the cake kind of energy, where it's a sense of feeling very fulfilled. There's like a sweetness and yet a nourishment as well. Very healthy energy, the makings of a healthy connection, a long-term connection, something that, you know, is very stable, solid, grounded, a lot of long-term potential here. And it almost feels like this perfect kind of like match, maybe even a little bit of, you know, sort of like an opposites attract, but you're really in this like vibration with one another. And it's like the energy of homecoming, or finally there's a cause to celebrate and love, which may be a definite pivot in another direction after a series of disappointments in love, a substantial heartbreak you've been trying to recover from, or even just a period of not a lot happening. And all of a sudden, here's this very kind of like sweet and fulfilling and healthy relationships. It's a very like healthy energy right here that represents, it confirms almost growth within yourself. Like you wouldn't be magnetizing this type of a situation in, this type of a person in, if you had not successfully transcended limitations or patterns or wounds within yourself. So it's almost like you're being celebrated by love, and it also gives you cause to celebrate yourself and your own growth as well. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box, as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a-cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Pisces. So I'm going to start with a romance angel, and this will set the tone and theme for love for the month of May. And this is going to be an oracle cards only reading. So after I get this one, I will get a few from this deck to add a little more depth and clarity to the messages and round it out with a couple more from this deck. So what is love looking like for you for the month of May? Got stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. So the universe is getting ready or wants to deliver the sweetness of love, the bounty of love, somebody who may want to offer you their cup of love this month. This could be something that is a connection where you're already dealing with somebody and you're wondering, are they gonna take the next step? Are they gonna take the initiative? Are they gonna open up and commit to more? Like, where is this going? And this can tie into the idea of positive change, growth potential. This can also talk about kind of like flirtation, you know, maybe chemistry with a coworker, secret admirer kind of energy as well. Somebody that's kind of just been waiting on the wings, maybe making suggestions and innuendos, but hasn't really made their move yet. This can talk about coming out of that shadowy energy, bringing something forth, asking you out, professing feelings, having some kind of like depth or revelation in terms of what they provide to you as far as their intentions long term for the situation. So positive growth, positive change, almost your efforts to remain very optimistic, to get very clear about what it is you're looking for in love, to seek, find, and transcend obstacles within yourself that kind of stand in the way of the receptivity of love. All of this is working in your favor to call in to you the type of partnership you are seeking. So, what else do you need to know about love for the month of May? Okay, so we have dream time, creation, music, harmony, and DNA, karma. So there can be a little bit of fear with this idea of like karma. It's bringing to mind, you know, kind of this fear of like, am I going to be alone forever? Am I ever going to find someone? You know, is my true love going to find me? Is the situation that I'm in currently with somebody, is this going to ascend in some manner? Or are we just going to keep going round and round in the same circle? It's bringing to mind also with this music, the idea of like dancing around the obvious. Are they ever going to make their feelings known? Are they ever going to make a move? Is there ever going to be any forward progress? And with this idea of like dream time creation, it's really emphasizing this idea of like thoughts are things. So make sure to keep, you know, not being naive, you know, taking a look at the signs very realistically. If you're in sort of a dead-end connection with somebody, it might be time to sort of like shed that energy. Move beyond that. Shift yourself into the vibration of openness to reciprocity, you know, two people giving to one another rather than something is, you know, very lopsided perhaps, or somebody who's just not growth oriented. That can be an element of, well, kind of like cutting something away this month in order to make space and room in your life for more of a harmonious connection, something closer and more in alignment with, you know, like your dream connection or things that you become very clear about as far as the type of partner you're wanting to manifest in. You may need to take an honest look at someone you're dealing with currently and saying, do they have all the makings of what I'm looking for? Or am I in some way maybe based on a very kind of fear-based energy, just sort of settling and making do out of a fear of not wanting to be alone, just kind of settling because it's somebody or it's good enough. There's this energy of like more is available to you. And so this can also tie into, you know, you're not actively waiting around for love. You're not actively waiting around for someone to take things to the next level. But there may be a bit of kind of like fear about, is this the right move to make? Is this the right circumstance and situation? Again, like, am I going to be alone forever, or is somebody going to show up? And it's tying into this idea of like things that are being created and crafted behind the scenes in conjunction with the vibration that you're holding within yourself. There's a harmonization that is happening. It's almost like as above, so below. It's needing to take place on those subtle realms. You know, if it's someone you're dealing with, leaning into this energy of optimism, that the time it's taking to get to know one another, it's for a greater purpose of kind of like creating this cohesiveness with one another. And again, the situation is getting ready to kind of like develop. It's getting ready to be created into something more solid and stable. Your dreams, your kind of ideals and ideas of the type of partnership you'd like to experience are coming into form in the material world. And it almost feels like for a lot of you, you're kind of right at the precipice of sort of like receiving, or seeing is believing, and kind of like experiencing all of that. So don't give up now. Don't lose sight of that vision now, because it's closer than you might have imagined. So a couple more cards just to finish up this reading for you. What else do you need to know? Okay, so we have yin and loyal heart. So yeah, this yin card, this is all about receptivity, opening up to receive the love that you are seeking, this loyal heart, this high vibrational love, things moving to the next level, the type of partner who sees you, who matches your vibration, no longer kind of like the low vibrational toxic kind of things you might have experienced in the past, but somebody who, you know, is on the level that you are at, somebody who has done the work within themselves, somebody who matches your ideas of love, matches your kind of goals for relationships, is getting ready to come in. This idea of these two owls, it's like this person is already in flight towards you. So don't give up that kind of vision, or that that dream, or that goal, or that wanting within yourself. You know, don't stand in your way, because this is your season to receive some kind of confirmation, to receive all of that love that you've been pouring so selflessly into yourself. It's time to receive that back from somebody else in the material world. So for a lot of you, kind of this process of glow up, this process of, you know, healing your heart, raising your standards, you're about to really witness kind of the physical manifestation of the result of all of that work within, to kind of like cultivate the better, best version of yourself. You're now at the doorstep, basically, of that dream coming into form in the material reality. And it's almost like there's nothing more you need to do except for to continue to remain open and optimistic. Things are already very much in alignment. It feels like somebody is already inbound. If this is like new love, a new connection, if it's somebody you're dealing with currently and it's sort of like, where's this going? Again, just open to receptivity. Like they're, for a lot of you, getting ready to take things to the next level, to open up, to, you know, kind of make some things clear that really puts you on the same page. Is this energy of a deep alignment. You're doing everything right, and kind of like thoughts become things. So keeping that positive and loving light on the situation, or just on your love life in general, is the best way to, you know, kind of open yourself and your frequency up to receiving that which you yourself are and are emanating at this point in time. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of pick-a cards and general energy readings related to subjects such as spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.